What is bleed and how to make it? We've talked about bleed a little bit before, but I'm going to go a little bit more in depth and talk about how little ways and tricks to make it. So bleed is the area beyond the die, and we need to, anything that gets within a 1/16 of an inch of the die needs to continue out to a 1/16 of an inch outside the die, so that when the die moves, everything's okay. We don't see bare stock. So sometimes that's easy, sometimes it's hard. Here's example 1. We have a very simple bleed, just a gray area that just needs to continue beyond that blue die line that I've got there. So I'm going to just simply do an offset path of a 1/16 of an inch, and there you go. I'm bleeding, all done. Now here we've got a little bit more difficult of a case. In this case, we're bleeding on the left and right, but here we're cut off right at the edge of that die line, top and bottom. Now, one way to fix this as a designer would simply be make the image bigger. Great, that works. But if, as a designer, I really need to, for whatever reason, to end my artwork right there, then I need to make more artwork beyond that. Unfortunately, I'm not Van Gogh. But Photoshop kind of is. So this is a raster Photoshop image, right? And I've already made my image the same size as my label, 4 inches, so that just so I know where I am in my Photoshop document, so that I know that all I need is, here I'm going to unlock my layer, so that all I need is 1/8 of an inch. There we go. I got 1/8 of an inch more to work with, but I need that filled with art. And since I'm not Van Gogh, I'm going to use content-aware fill. So I select my image area here, and then I'm going to select the inverse of that, because this is the area I want filled. I'm also going to expand my selection just a bit so that it goes into my image area. And now, when I go to content-aware fill, it's going to come up with a sample for me, and then it's going to fill that with a little bit more image. And, you know, it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. I'm going to save that as bleed 2. I can bring that into my document, square it up to my art. If I use that just behind, there we go. Now I don't need that top image. It's bleeding, top and bottom. My Van Gogh house is a little bit bigger. Now, this third case is tricky. This is a case where we have vector art. And that vector art, as you see, again, ends top and bottom. Now, as a designer, I would like to just make this bigger. That would be the best. That would be easy, no problem. But if that's not possible, again, for whatever reason, the only thing I know to do is to draw. So if you've got suggestions, please put them in the comments. But what I've got is to just manually kind of go in and one at a time make these objects bigger. And it's going to be a painstaking process, honestly. Now, there are little tricks that one could do to make it a little bit faster. For example, maybe one could select all the vectors at the bottom and kind of expand them, stretch them. Depending on what you got, that might work. Try to get rid of my, including that pass here, and then just stretch that. It's not going to work like that. If you were very careful about what things you selected, you might get away with it. But frankly, I think I'm going to probably be better off, in most cases, again, just drawing away. But it's important to do, so you got to do it. I hope you have an easier time making your bleed or more flexible art. Thanks so much.